Hi, and welcome back to Jen and Dan's Natural Healing with Plants, the go-to podcast for holistic health seekers looking to harness the power of nature for health and healing. I'm Jen. I'm a passionate health educator, whole food, plant-based culinary coach, and master herbalist. And I'm here with Dan, an exercise specialist and wonderful master herbalist. Each week, we dive into the world of natural healing, bringing you a wealth of knowledge and practical advice. We draw from both traditional wisdom and modern science with herbs and foods to help you achieve optimal health. So, Dan, today we're talking about one of our all time favorite herbal blends. For those of you who don't know, Dan and I met at the School of Natural Healing. Oh my gosh, I don't even remember what year that was, 21 or 22.
21.
Anyway, it is Dr. Christopher's school. If you've ever heard of Dr. Christopher's herbs, and we studied with Dr. Christopher and his family, and Dr. Schultz and Dr. Christopher Hobbs, as well as many other wonderful teachers. So that's our background. And one of our favorite herbal remedies is Dr. Christopher's complete bone and tissue formula. It used to be BF&C is how we learned it. And we love it because it's called bone and tissue formula, but it's not just for bones. It's also for ligaments and muscles and cartilage and overall tissue repair in places that maybe we don't even think about. And so it's definitely one that I take regularly. I don't know about you, Dan. But I would love for us, I want you to kick us off because you are a fabulous master herbalist, and I want to hear your thoughts on this one.
Well, I have to start out with a little story about it. I had a small cavity in one of my teeth last year. And I
Yeah.
go to a holistic dentist, so he's kind of cool. So he'll say, "Well, Daniel, this tooth's looking a little bit in trouble, but I'll give you 6 months and we'll see what happens." So I started taking the complete bone and tissue formula along with the herbal calcium formula. And I go back 6 months later, the small cavity is healed itself. I'm not saying it happens for everybody, but it healed itself. And I know it had a lot to do with those two formulas. I like to combine for cavities, I'll combine the complete bone and tissue with the herbal calcium. And do you remember the story about the this formula, Dr. Christopher's story, how you came up with it?
No, but before you tell us that story, I want any of our listeners to know if you want to know more about dental health, we do have another episode. And I'll make sure in the show notes it says what episode, because Dan shares a lot more about how to um, heal, even though we're not supposed to use the word heal, cavities. So back. So tell us the story.
He had a woman brought her little girl to him, when he was practicing. And she had, I believe it was psoriasis all over the place, and the kids were making fun of her. And Dr. Christopher tried everything, and it wasn't working for this little girl. So one night he said he just prayed. He's like, "What? Can you help me with this little girl?" And God gave him this formula because if you look at it, it is a wild assortment of herbs. Who would have thought of this?
Yes.
So he prayed for it, and he gives it to this mother and he tells her to put the oil on the little girl's psoriasis and take it internally. And it actually cleared up that case of psoriasis for that little girl. And that's how it got started. And
Yes.
he used it for years and years. And Christopher said, "I don't care what's wrong with you, try the complete bone and tissue formula because it's a miracle formula."
Yes. Yes. Um, I had totally forgotten about that story.
Yeah.
Yeah. So some things, we'll just give a little list of some things that it has been used for, not just psoriasis. Yeah, and we'll talk more about what herbs are in there and why, because it has like psoriasis. Our skin is a tissue, right? But
Yeah.
psoriasis is an autoimmune disease as well, and so that's interesting. But it's this bone and tissue, so obviously helpful for bones, broken bones, fractures, anything related with the bones, sprains, strains, ligaments. Now, I'm not telling you that if you break your arm to just take this formula. No, seek medical advice, get your bones set. This can just help you with speeding your recovery. And medical disclaimer, We are not telling you to use these formulas. We are telling you to do your own due diligence, look at the research, see are these herbs right for you. We're just going to tell you what we know from our own experience and our own education. So it's also helpful for sprains and strains and ligament injuries, sore muscles after workouts, joint pain and stiffness, even corrective connective tissue recovery after surgery, um, tinnitus, teeth. What else, Dan?
Well, I've heard people take it for their spinal discs, and I have another story about that. David, well, I have one for one of my personal clients, but David Christopher slipped 2 discs one year,
Mm.
and he took this formula, and in 8 weeks he was pain free, which is a big deal because slip discs usually take a year or more to heal.
Right.
So slip disc, I've heard people taking it to heal ACL tears,
Wow.
which is, a lot of people get surgery, but I've heard people healing ACLs without surgery. I'm not saying to do it because that's a leap of faith, but
Right.
I've heard people doing this. And well, my client, she came to me, she has stenosis. She had arthritis in her spine, her knees had arthritis. She was in all this pain.
Mm.
I tell her about this formula. She takes this formula along with the joint formula,
Uh-huh.
and we go to the gym. But now she's 95% pain free, and this is after a year.
Yeah, that's
And
amazing.
that had a lot to do with these herbs.
Yeah. Yeah. And I totally believe it. I know I started taking it after you, it might have been right after we did the episode on the dental teeth. And we may have done the one on teeth because that's when I had a cracked tooth.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I'm trying to remember the story. So I was eating a peach pit and I bit down on I wasn't eating the peach pit. I was eating a peach and I bit down on something, or maybe it was a cherry pit. Anyway, I've injured my teeth eating stone fruits multiple times actually. So apparently I have this hazardous condition with eating stone fruit. Anyway, I bit, I think it was a cherry pit, and it cracked a tooth. And I went in and they put a filling in. And then 2 days later, I was eating something and that filling popped off and turned sideways. And when I bit down, it cracked my tooth. And so I have this like V shape in my tooth and just like a sliver of a tooth standing. And they don't know how it's still standing. They said, you have such strong teeth, which thank God I do. Um, but I started taking that formula then. And that was at least I think we did that episode 2 years ago. So it's been two
Yeah.
years and that piece is still there. And it's weird because when I floss, that tooth, my dental floss will go into that little slit and I have to go over to the side, to get between the teeth. So it's kind of weird and kind of a weird thing to share with people in the public. But I started taking it then. And so I still credit that for protecting my teeth because that was a pretty deep cut. So it's protecting everything in there. So I just continue to take it regularly anyway. But it's funny that you said the psoriasis story because that was probably the same time that I had the psoriasis as well. So I never even put that into play in the same time. But other people that we recommend taking it are athletes, people who are active, that are putting a lot of strain on their muscles and joints. People who are concerned about bone loss and osteoporosis, something else that I'm concerned about because I have a history of Graves' disease. I was on a lot of Graves' medication, which increases your risk of osteoporosis. I had radioactive iodine, which also increases bone loss. Now, I totally regret that. I'm not telling you anyone who needs it not to do it, but there are other things that you can do. And there was something else that increased. Oh, I am a small um, person, small menopausal woman, small boned. I have very small bones. It might not look like it on Zoom. Um, and so all of those put me at very high risk of osteoporosis. Long story short, everyone who is at risk should take take it for prevent osteoporosis. People healing from accidents, surgeries, injuries. My daughter burned her hand really bad this last week, and we have it in oil form. You can buy it in the oil, massage oil, or take it internally. We recommend both if you have an injury like that. And then anyone with chronic aches, stiffness, degenerative tissue issues as well.
And I'll also add just people, as we get older, after 35, unfortunately, the ligaments start to get weaker. And so we want to take something to maintain the strength of our ligaments and muscles. Of course, strength training will help, but this is like food for our muscles and joints. And you really can't find anything. There's nothing else like this out there. We don't sell it either. It's just so good. I want to
No,
share it
it's
with
just one of our
people.
favorites. Right, right.
It's just, I mean, it's so unique, and I think everybody over 35 should take something like this on a regular basis to keep their ligaments strong, help keep their teeth, even the teeth start to have problems for some people as they get older. But if we take things like this, we can hopefully prevent some of these, degeneration of tissues, And I was asking about one lady, she had a little bit of kidney damage, and I was talking to the school about it, and David said that if you combine complete bone and tissue with the kidney formula, he has seen it help people heal their kidney tissue.
Wow.
So that's one thing I learned is okay, so say you have a weak heart.
Mhm.
Well, what I've learned from that is you take complete bone and tissue along with the hawthorn berry and the cayenne. So you combine it with the heart specific herb
Right,
or in the case of the kidneys, with kidney specific herbs, or say it's your liver, use liver specific herbs along with the complete bone and tissue, and they work together. Synergy. I'm all about synergy.
right, right.
So it's amazing.
It is amazing. So let's talk about some of the ingredients.
Yeah.
So now comfrey is in, now is comfrey only in the loose one?
Yeah, this the loose one.
That's what I was thinking too. Yeah. It might be in the massage oil too.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah. And so comfrey is famous for being able to stimulate cell regeneration and healing of bones and tissues. It is not in the internal formula because it was classified as dangerous. They say it causes liver damage. Now, this is where we say do your own due diligence. I also am taking classes with Rosemary Gladstar. Love her. And so between Dr. Schultz, Dr. Christopher, Rosemary Gladstar, these are famous, well-known herbalists. They all say comfrey is fine. In those studies, what happened is they extracted the allantonin, I think. It was achemical from the comfrey. And if you take high doses of that extract, then that can cause liver damage. The comfrey leaf, the comfrey root is not going to cause that damage unless you take it in extreme high amounts. So it is definitely well known. So if you do have definitely a broken bone or something like that, get it set, but then use a comfrey tea on your arm, using a fomentation or something like that is definitely recommended. Taking it internally, I want you to do your own due diligence there. Now it is in the formula because it does help with cell regeneration. Mullein, did you want to say anything else about comfrey?
Well, you brought it out again. I'll just say that they actually isolated the chemical, the allantoin chemical. That's not the way that's the way it works in the medical field, but that's why we always say take herbs as a whole because they balance things out. So if you take comfrey root, it's got hundreds of chemicals in it, and they all work together, and you don't get too much of anything. That's how nature works. And also in the study, they gave these rats like obscene amounts of it. I mean, it was obscene. They basically they know that comfrey works really well, so they wanted to scare people off from it. That's basically what happened. So,
Yeah, yeah. Um,
oh, yeah, he replaced it with, I want to say lungwort, and it has similar properties to comfrey.
yeah,
Also, aloe vera does. Aloe vera also contains allantoin. If you're scared of comfrey, which you shouldn't be, but
right.
lungwort and aloe vera have similar properties. So,
Yeah. So another herb in there is mullein leaf, which helps with inflammation and lubrication of joints. Mulleine's also one that's recommended in glandular formulas for the thyroid, for the adrenals, all these different glands. But mullein has a little bit of the mucilaginous properties. It's wonderful for the lungs, strengthening the lungs, but also helps with inflammation.
We also contain white oak bark, which is an astringent. And that's the you remember the story with the tooth powder. It
Yes.
also contains comfrey. It tightens up. Say you have gum disease, it will tighten up your gums. Some people get gum disease to where the teeth start to get loose.
Yeah.
So you can pack the gums with white oak bark, and it will tighten up the tissues. And you also, if you have gum disease, you will want to add some kind of an anti-infective, like the what is it? They sell the what is it? The infection formula they have. It's in a tincture.
Yeah. Excellent.
Anyway, it also would be good for hemorrhoids because the stringency will help shrink hemorrhoids, things like that.
Right. Yeah. And strengthening the tissues. And then it has black walnut leaf, which we don't always see that. We usually see black walnut whole, but black walnut leaf is very mineral rich and contains a lot of minerals that are supportive of bone health.
Then we have marshmallow root, which is a soothing herb. It helps with inflammation. It helps protect tissues. Um, they also use that for their kidney formula because it actually helps when
Yeah.
you pass stones. It actually lubricates the urinary tract.
And I use that in lots of things. That's one that's just safe for anybody, all ages. And like you said, it's mucilaginous, so it's soothing for the lungs, it's soothing for the entire intestinal tract. Anyone with leaky gut or gut damage, it's wonderful for that and wonderful for the skin. It's just a wonderful way to protect the tissue. I have it in my gut formula, my gut tea. I love marshmallow root. So yes, very gentle and protective because the next herb is gravel root. And so think about the word gravel root. So it's breaking up gravel if you have like stones in the body. But for this formula, it's also called bone knit. And so it helps to knit bones together. So gravel root has two different things. It helps with breaking down gravel, but also knitting bone as well.
And then the last three is wormwood, skullcap, and lobelia. And lobelia is the thinking herb. It helps other herbs get to where they need to go. It's like, okay, so you may have your arm's broken. So the lobelia can actually help the other herbs get to that break. And I know it sounds crazy, but it's true. And
Yeah.
then the skullcap and wormwood, they help improve your circulation and reduce inflammation. So
Yeah.
they're
And
also, I'm sorry, go ahead.
unfazed skull cap helps to regenerate nerve endings.
Yes. And the wormwood, if you have any kind of parasites, they help kill those. That's
Right. Yeah. So many great things in this formula. Yeah. Lobelia is another one that is on the danger list, but it's one of my favorites. Like you said, it helps to enhance, it's a thinking herb. It takes the herbs to where they are needed. But the reason why it's considered dangerous is if you take too much, you're going to throw up. Well, maybe because you need to throw up, right?
yeah.
Or it may come out the other end. Or it may just settle things. And so, like if you have menstrual cramps, you take a little lobelia, it can help to relax your body. Or if you have an asthma attack, it can help to relax the body. But if you take too much, you can throw up. Maybe if you're having an asthma attack, throwing up would be the right thing for you. You need to get stuff out so that you can breathe better. And so, unfortunately, it's been listed as one of those dangerous herbs. So, do your own due diligence before using it. However, it is one that I really do appreciate.
Yes. It's also lobelia is good for relaxing, like you were saying, tissues, but it also is good for mental relaxation. It helps me with that.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And so we've mentioned the massage oil. You can get it loose leaf. I have it in capsule form and I have the massage oil in my refrigerator. And so I have it easily for things like the burns or something if I need to use it externally on the skin. But then I like to take it internally just as to protect my teeth and to protect my bones as well. But let's talk about what else do we need to know about this before we wrap up.
Well, we need to know that, it's natural. So you don't have to worry about, there's Now they're talking about how Tylenol is terrible for your liver. We knew that. It's not good for your liver or your
Or
stomach or
kidney,
your kidneys. So
right?
it's not going to, compromise your organs. In fact, it can actually help heal your organs. So we don't have to worry about this formula, um, hurting us. But over time, and look, it's going to take time. It will speed up healing, but you're not going to take it one day and be better tomorrow. It might take a week. It might take 2 weeks. It might take 3 weeks, depending on what you have going on. But I don't want people to be afraid of these herbs. It's safe, and I
Yeah.
don't know. I just
I totally agree. Yeah, there's no quick fixes. It's
no.
speed healing, which is great. And if you're using some sort of medical intervention, like have them set the bones, and taking care of it, icing it, things like that, these herbs can help to speed up your recovery. They can be a part of your conventional medicine recommendations. You
Yeah.
can maybe do it without it, but we're all about natural healing and not needing those. But sometimes we do need some medical interventions.
Yep.
Anyway, we need to wrap it up. So thank you for joining us today on Natural Healing with Plants. If you've never tried this formula, it's one that I would definitely keep on hand. Do your own due diligence, see if it's right for you, but you can see so many reasons to use it as a preventive or for recovery from injury, things like that. To work with me, you can go to holisticgen.com. That's with a W. I spell holistic with a W, holisticgen.com, or for Dan, thennaturalman.com. And remember, your body was designed to heal. It just needs the right support. So we hope to talk to you and share with you again next week. Comment anything, any suggestions, anything you agree with or don't agree with.